Okay. I know I introduced myself earlier, but we talked. Investigator Wade, and this is ADA Parrish. Okay, he's with the DA's office.
Good morning, Ms. Coe. I want to apologize to you for not introducing myself earlier tonight at your house.
So I just got to read you this real quick, okay? Um, you have the right to remain silent. Anything you say can be used against you in a court of law. You have the right to talk to a lawyer and have a lawyer present with you while you are being questioned. If you cannot afford to hire a lawyer, one will be appointed to represent you before any questioning if you wish. You can decide at any time to exercise these rights and not answer any of these questions or make any statements. Do you understand each of these rights as I've explained them to you? Okay. Having these rights in mind, do you wish to talk to us?
I've talked to him.
I know, and that was just kind of just talking to you in the beginning, but now we kind of just have some other questions for you too. Okay.
I have the right to answer them and not answer them, correct?
That's correct.
Now, I answer what I can.
Okay. All right. And I have this here. This is the same thing. It's just the same Miranda warning. If you just want to sign your name right there for me in that line. And then how many years of school have you completed?
High school, and then it's just getting my insurance license and things like that.
Okay. So roughly how many?
I graduated in the middle of my senior year, so.
Okay. All right. So if you just want to write that, just write that down, and the rest of the stuff I'll fill out later. You don't need to worry about that.
I'd rather it be filled out before.
What's that?
I would rather it
Okay.
be filled out.
All right. Go ahead. Yep.
It.
Then go ahead. Just write your name up there for me. Write your social, your address, your telephone number, and then your date of birth, age, and then that stuff right there for me. All right, Cheryl. So I know you told me about yesterday, and the events leading up yesterday until tonight. But if we can back it up, I guess, and start from Monday, just kind of go through your routine with me. Just kind of tell me, take me through your day, starting from when you first wake up, until you go to work, come home.
I'm usually up about 5:30. Get up, get ready for work. Luke had gone to the gym Monday, I think. Yeah, he went to the gym Monday. No, he didn't go to the gym Monday. He went to the gym yesterday. Tuesday, whatever day that was. And I woke him up, and I was getting ready to leave for work because he's self-employed, so he doesn't really have to do a whole lot like I do to get ready. So he just gets up, jumps in the shower, grabs a cup of coffee, and will fix his breakfast or whatever, and talk to me on the phone on the way to work. We had a normal conversation for us on the way to work on Monday. I went in and opened the Women's Imaging Center, and for the first hour I'm by myself, so it's like I'm slammed with stuff. And then when it dies down, I'll usually text him and text other people that I talk to, good morning.
I don't mean to interrupt you at all, but um, like, about how long does it take you to get from your house?
30 minutes if I don't hit the train.
No.
And what hours do you work? What time do you have to be in to work?
I'm a team lead, so it just depends on where they need me. Right now, it's 7:15 or 7 most of the time because the biopsies are already there waiting
Mm-hmm.
until 3:30, 4 o'clock, 4:30. Just depends on how long they need me because we're so short staffed right now. And that's why I really need to make sure they know I'm not going to be there in the morning.
Okay.
And I'm sorry to interrupt you. It just occurred to me I've never been to see my face, so I didn't know how long it took. But you said you text other people good morning.
Yeah.
Oh.
Once things slow down at work, then I'll text other people good morning.
Yes.
Okay.
And then going from there, I guess how did your day progress on Monday?
But then it usually gets busy again and doesn't slow down until probably about 10:30, close to 11 o'clock. Sometime between 10:30 and 11, I'll try and get a hold of him, try and message him, but he's on the job site sometimes, so he can't answer me or he can't respond right away. And I'm sure I texted him that day because I was making plans for the week. And he disagreed with my plans for the week and said it made his stomach turn. And I said, okay. I was asking, I wasn't telling, I was asking permission.
What were your plans?
To get together with a male friend of mine. And he said that he felt like that was a little bit too much in a week's time and that it made his stomach turn. And I said, well, I said, it seems like since we went to the open side of things, we've argued more than anything about it. And I said, let's just stop. Let's just don't do it anymore. Let's just, I kept pushing him about it, and I had him send a message to whoever he was talking to at the time to let them know that. And I had to wait to send my message until Tuesday because the person that I speak to couldn't talk on Monday. He was on an airplane.
Okay. Was that the male that you were talking to? Okay.
And we just I suggested that we spend some time together Monday night, and he said that kind of made his stomach turn. Hearing me talking about meeting up with somebody else and then us spending time together that's what we did. The week before, we both had people over at the same time, and then again Saturday night. We were supposed to be having a small party Saturday night, and because of the weather, it all fell through except for one couple that came. Everything went fine. Everything was fine. Sunday, we got up and we went to pick up my prescriptions at the pharmacy in Peachtree City, and then went to eat Mexican across the street. And, then we went to Fayetteville and played pool. It was Father's Day, and neither one of his kids had anything really planned for him. So we just went and played pool for a couple hours and went home, and everything was fine. We went to bed that night, and everything was fine when we woke up that morning.
What time did y'all typically go to bed, or did y'all go to bed on Father's Day?
It might have been about, I think it was probably about 8 because we laid in bed and watched something on Netflix for a while. watched a couple of episodes of something we found on Netflix. And then we went to sleep. And I got up the next morning to, of course, his gym alarm went off and he turned it off and rolled back over. And I got up, started getting ready for work, and started the coffee and got in the shower and got ready for work and went to work. He was still sleeping. I kept trying to wake him up. Finally, I got him up, about 6:30, right before I was getting ready to leave. And I was quiet Monday because I was kind of we didn't really talk it through Monday. I was just quiet and getting my stuff done around the house, and then that was it. And then I went to bed.
You may have said this just a minute ago, but what time do you typically get off going in? That would be really early for me if I had to go.
It depends.
Okay.
It depends on how late they need me. It could be 3:45. It could be 4. It could be 4:30. It just depends on how busy they are, because we're short-staffed right now, and the person that usually stays until 4:30 is not there. So if I can get out of there at 3:45 or 4, I do. If I can't, then I stay until 4:30 until the person that's closing is comfortable.
And so, I guess on Monday, after and I guess I should just say, by no question I ask you, I mean to make you uncomfortable or anything, because I know it's trauma in personal life. No, I just wanted to say that from the outset, so you had messaged him about meeting up with someone, and he kind of shot that down.
Mm-hmm. I was like, okay. Because it was a question. It wasn't I wasn't telling him I was going to do it. I was asking him if it was okay with him and what day would be okay with him.
Did you always have to ask him if it was okay, or did you guys have any rules? Or
Yeah, we had a lot of rules. Over a year's time, we worked out a lot of rules. But we always got to those rules because of some type of issue or something. And that's the reason Monday I was just like, let's just don't do this anymore, because it seems like every time we get into heated discussion, and by no means have we ever laid our hands on each other or anything like that. Mm-hmm. But every time we would get into an argument or a heated discussion about it, it had to do with that part of it.
Now, did he ever have to ask you for permission to?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So it wasn't just one-sided.
No. It was. I mean, he would plan something, and then he would be like, have you got anything going on that day? Are you okay with this? And that would be it.
So if you said no, would he not do it, or would he follow through with it?
No, he would not do it. Just like he told me no, and I was okay with that. I said okay. But when he told me that it kind of made his stomach turn, I was like, that's when I told him, I said, let's just don't do it anymore.
Now, did he know this person that you were messaging with, and you knew the person he was messaging with?
Yes.
Okay. And was there some prior history or kind of friction between them and y'all?
No.
Okay.
No.
Now, did you ever message her or anything, or text her within the last few days?
So yeah, he sent her that message, and she and I had been the particular person. She and I had been working we've known each other for years, and we had been working to develop a better friendship, so that I would be comfortable with him seeing her outside. I had finally gotten to the point where I was comfortable with that. I wanted to let her know after he sent her the message and told her that we were stepping back from it, that it had absolutely nothing to do with her, because I had just told them that it was okay for them to do that. And that, she was a friend, and I respected her as a friend, and I wanted her to know that it didn't have anything to do with her.
Now, you mentioned earlier that it had a lot of rules developed over the year. So it's just now been within the last year that y'all made the decision to be more open. And was that a joint decision, or was it encouraged by you more than
Kind of him, for me, and I told him that it wasn't fair for me to do it if he didn't do it.
Okay,
So he wanted you to step out and be with other men?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
and how did that make you feel when he approached you?
Not that, it didn't bother me. Because we were already actively in a lifestyle where at parties or clubs or things like that we would switch partners.
Mm-hmm.
So it didn't really bother me. We had a rough year before that while I was going through menopause, and my hormones we finally got them even, and they were more than what he could handle. And that was the reason that he made this suggestion. But it wasn't because we were lacking in our marital relationship.
Yes,
it actually added a little bit of excitement to it. But we talked about it Tuesday while I was at work, and I was in a slower area, so I was able to text back and forth with him, and he kind of convinced me to let's back up, slow down, but stay in the open side of things. And he said he felt like a fool because he had already sent the messages to those two women, and I told him, I said, it's okay, I'll take care of it. I'll send them a message and let them know it was me. That I was overreacting, and it was me. And they both sent me one back saying that they understood, completely.
Is that one, because I know you told me earlier that you all were not speaking to each other in an argument. Is that what that whole thing was about? Or was it something else?
No, he has always had a habit, and we've been working on this, of sharing too much information. Or if he and I talk about a conversation that I had with someone, then he'll turn around and say something to that person about the conversation, which causes problems with me, because it's like, I had that conversation with that person. I was just sharing some things with you because you're my husband. And, I couldn't trust him to keep his mouth shut and not say anything. And she had texted me after he sent her a text yesterday and told me that he had let her know that I had talked to him about, or told him that she and I had had a conversation on Tuesday. And then he wanted to try and get together with her. And she said, I haven't responded. I wanted to see how you were with this. Well, it was misunderstood. It was all a big misunderstanding. But usually he has no problem. If I ask him if he did something, he'll screenshot the conversation and send it to me. And he just wouldn't do it, wouldn't do it, wouldn't do it, wouldn't do it. And I told him I felt like we were going backwards instead of forwards, because he said that he would not be doing those things anymore. Um, because I was actually proved wrong this time, and he did not say it. She misunderstood what he was saying. He got extremely upset with me, and we text back and forth. A lot of unread text, a lot of responded text, a lot of more unread text or more text from me, or read text that he wouldn't respond to. And so he said he was too upset with me yesterday to talk. So he came home and he loaded up his bike and he took it to a friend's house. And the only way I really knew what he was doing is because I went out to the garage to see if he had taken the bike that's rideable or the one that had to be worked on, or if he was, what he was, because there's always so many vehicles there. I didn't know. I mean, all of his trucks were there. So I went to look in the garage and he was gone. And the panhandle was gone. So I sent him a message and I said, whenever you, if you're here or here at these two people's houses that would help him with his motorcycle, I said, if you're at either one of these places, can you please wait until at least 9 o'clock to come home so that I can be asleep when you get home. Because he wasn't talking to me anymore. And there was no more communication. He was just livid with me. And so I went to bed last night, probably before it was still daylight outside, but I had my blackout curtains up. And probably finally fell asleep about 9 with the TV on. And he still wasn't home. And since we live where we do, and we don't lock the doors, I, was like, I don't know when he's coming home. So I took my pistol out and stuck it on the nightstand where I could get to it if anybody came in. And he sent me a text when I opened it this morning. He sent it at like 10:45 and said that he was broken down, that his bike was broken down. He was trying to get it running so that he could ride it back home. It had to be sometime after 12 because I got up to go to the bathroom and then went right back to sleep, and he still wasn't there. And then I woke up later in the middle of the night and he was rubbing my arm, but then it was almost like he figured out what he was doing and pulled back, because we usually sleep right up against each other, and when we're having issues we're on both sides of the bed instead of on just his side of the bed. And my alarm went off this morning. I got up, I got ready, I made coffee. I left him in bed. He didn't get up to go to the gym. He'd been out late messing with his motorcycle. I didn't know what his plans were because we had not talked. And there was no conversation like we normally talk about, okay, well, what time do you want to get up? And that conversation didn't happen, so I just got up, got ready, and went to work. And worked all day. He waited until sometime around 3 o'clock to text me and said he was ready to talk, that he had just needed some time to cool off. And by that time I was upset because of the way that he was reacting yesterday. And I told him that I had some things to do after work, and if it wasn't too late when I got home, we could talk then. if I was up to it, because I had had some time to think too, and I wasn't ready to talk. So I ran my errands after work, went to the grocery store, came in, and I had picked up a 12-pack of Angry Orchard, and I he was out in the shop with Levi, and they were messing with his pan head again, trying to get it running. And I went in, changed clothes, grabbed an Angry Orchard from the refrigerator out in the garage, and went and sat on the screening porch and drank it and flipped through Facebook. Tried to call my mom several times and didn't get an answer. Messaged her because I was worried because her phone was going straight to voicemail, and she lives in Phoenix City, and she's probably trying to figure out where the heck I am right now because I did call her. But she's she know I left several messages for her. I text my daughter because today's my granddaughter's birthday, and then I was texting back and forth with an old friend that showed up on Facebook. I was messaging back and forth with him, and seeing how he was doing because I know that he and his wife had gone through a divorce, and he was explaining to me that they were still quite close or friends, but they just couldn't make it as a couple. I'm sorry.
Did you eat anything? Are you good with water?
But and I guess I probably had I think I had 5 Angry Orchards, and he was still out in the shop, and the music was blaring from the shop. I was like, okay, I'm not feeling too hot. I've had too much to drink. I'm gonna lay down. I'm gonna take my medicine and go to bed.
About what time was that? Would you say?
7:15 maybe, which is not out of the ordinary, since I have to get up so early.
And was Levi still out in the shop with?
And I heard his truck leave at some point while I was still out on the back porch. And then I went in, took my medicine, brushed my teeth, and got in bed. And got comfortable, turned the TV on, and fell asleep. And because I had been, like I said, I had a little bit too much Angry Orchard, so I went to sleep very easily.
Yes.
And when I took the Klonopin, it kind of really put me to sleep. That and the Finnegan.
How long have you been taking
Klonopin?
Mm.
Years.
Years.
I can't even tell you when I started taking it.
Mm.
You take it every night, faithfully.
If I don't, it doesn't go well. I don't sleep.
I mean, I have friends that swear by it. So, I mean, I was just curious.
I mean, some people take it for an anxiety medication. I take it so that I can, like, cut my brain off and go to sleep and stay asleep. Because I was having trouble going to sleep, and then I was waking up in the middle of the night and having trouble going back to sleep. And so they put me on my doctor put me back on the Klonopin for that. And
have you kind of been on the same dosage for a good while now?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. And
the Finnegan I only take when I'm feeling like I'm going to get a headache or I'm nauseous. And kind of felt that way this week with us, fussing back and forth. But like I said, I felt that way because there was no verbal communication. There was no talking. Mm-hmm. And I felt tonight like, okay, well, I guess I made him change his mind when I told him I was going to do things, and he's going to stay up in the shop. And so I went on to bed, and I said I fell asleep pretty quickly. Usually I do after I've taken that, and especially if I've had something to drink before it. but all I remember at that point is because I closed the bedroom door, and because I was trying to block out all the light that I could, and all I remember at that point was the bedroom door flinging open and into the wall, and it it startled me. I couldn't see anything. I couldn't see who it was. I was half asleep.
Was the TV
And
on at that point?
yes, the TV was on.
Okay. Was the bathroom door open or
No,
closed?
it was closed because that lets light in. So, but I had the TV down, the volume down on the TV, and just I had it going. I was laying on my side though, so I wasn't really paying attention to it or anything like that. And when when the door swung open, I all I could think of was, you know, somebody's come in the house again. Somebody's. That's why that gun is there. That's why he bought me that gun, was to protect myself. And I had it out last night because I was home alone. Well, I didn't know whether I was home alone or not at that point. So I grabbed it and I, I shot. I saw a figure and I shot once and then I shot again. And when I shot the second time, he said my name and I was like, oh my God. Yeah, I dropped everything and he's like, he said, you shot me. And I couldn't see where I had shot him. And it looked like it had grazed his arm. And then I lifted up his arm and saw that it was right here. And he started telling me he was having trouble breathing. And I called 911 and they told me to put a towel on it. And they said if that towel got too soaked, to get another towel. And I was running back and forth getting the towels and putting it on there. And I mean, he was literally talking to me as the EMTs were coming up the stairs, and it stopped that fast. I mean, I kept holding pressure on it while they were getting their stuff out, and then I moved out of their way so they could do what they needed to do. But it all happened so fast. I mean, I,
When you came in the room, did he say anything when he opened the door?
not when he first opened it. He just swung the door open.
Okay. He didn't say anything?
No.
He didn't make any noises or anything?
Just I heard I heard thunderous footsteps, and the door swung open and hit the wall, and I just reacted. I didn't. Yeah, I didn't think. I just reacted because it scared me.
And when he came in, did he close the door behind him?
I don't know. I don't think so.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think so.
Mm-hmm.
The door was open when I went to him.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm assuming he didn't close the door.
Okay. And again, I know it's a personal question, but what do you typically like? Well, what were you wearing at the time that all of this happened?
I didn't have any clothes on. My clothes were in the chair. We don't sleep with clothes on.
And so the clothes that you were wearing when the EMTs got there, I guess you just got them from the chair that you just.
I got them from the chair and was putting them on as they were pulling in the driveway, holding one hand on that and on the putting pressure on it and putting my clothes on. I mean, it wasn't that hard to pull it back over my head.
Yes, sir.
and it was right there. I didn't have. It's not like I went to a dresser to get anything. It was right there in the chair. It's the same thing that I put on every afternoon when I get home from work.
And on, I guess, I lost track of what day it is. This, I guess, today's
Today's Thursday.
So on Wednesday.
Wednesday.
So yesterday, you said that you had left work and told him you were gonna go run some errands. And so other than
And I told him, he asked me what I was doing, and I said it has nothing to do with sex. I said I'm just going to do some me stuff, which, because he was so elusive the day before about telling me where he was going, and he didn't tell me at all. I just, left him hanging on it. I was taking stuff back to the UPS store to send back to Amazon and going to the grocery store, but
But did you kind of want to make him think that you were doing something to kind of?
No, I just, because yesterday when I told him I wanted to sit down and talk, he said he had plans.
Mm-hmm.
So today, when he said he was ready to talk, I said I had plans after work. And if it wasn't too late when I got home, that we would do it, that we would talk. I was going to go get my nails done, but I decided to just forego that and go on home so that we could talk. And he stayed up in the shop.
Mm-hmm.
So I just.
So how did that make you feel when you came home and expecting, to kind of talk to each other, and he just kind of stayed out in the shop, I guess, with his son?
Well, I guess we'll get to it eventually. Yeah, but I sat, like I said, I sat out on the back porch and I drank about 5 Angry Orchards. Yeah, 5 Angry Orchards. And
About what time did you say you got home? Do you remember?
it was after 5:30, because driving from Fayetteville to the UPS store at Publix at Thomas Crossroads, and then coming through the traffic and hitting the bypass and I went to Food Giant, Little Giant. I went to Little Giant and got groceries and got stuff to make dinner. And then I stopped at the Crossroads store at Macedonia and Roscoe Road and got cigarettes and headed home the back way. And like I said, when I got there and I was getting the groceries out of the car, Levi came down and said, when you go in, would you put the bottle of wild turkey back in the freezer? Dad sent me to get him a shot, and I couldn't find his glasses. And he had his shot glasses. Okay, so I went in, I put up the groceries and put his wild turkey back in the freezer, changed my clothes out of my work clothes, and went and sat out on the back porch. I decided, we can eat leftovers, or he can eat leftovers, or whatever. A lot of times I don't eat at night. So after, like I said, after he was still up there, wasn't coming down, and kept turning the music up louder, I was just like, I'm just going to bed. I'm done with the day. And took my medicine and went to bed.
and I guess going back to the messages between the two women that he was messaging with, and he had sent them a message, and then you sent them a message, and you said earlier that he was livid that you had done that.
He was upset that I had made him send the message. That I had pushed him to do that on Monday, but I didn't feel like it just didn't feel right. It felt like it was something that was causing arguments between us, or fusses between us all the time, and it just we were wasting too much of our time trying to figure out how to spend time with other people. And I didn't want to do it anymore. And then Tuesday, mid-morning, we're talking back and forth, back and forth, back and forth, and somehow or another we end up that we're going to go back to it again. So I sent a message to both of the ladies and let them know that, it was me, it wasn't him, and I was, having an emotional day, write it off to emotional days, and to take it off of him so that he wouldn't look like a fool for sending the message, because that's what he told me. He said, now I look like a fool because I sent that message. I said, okay, I'll fix it. And I let them both know that it was me, not him. And the one in particular that I've developed a friendship with is the one that let me know that he didn't turn right around and sent her a message and said, hey, it's me again, and, I understand you and Cheryl talked yesterday. Or I understand you and Cheryl talked or something, but she thought it was about the conversation that she and I had had the day before that I had talked to him about. And she misunderstood it and relayed the misunderstanding to me, and that's when I accused him of going back to doing the same thing that he used to do, which was talking too much. But I mean, we were working through that. We were working on it. It was getting better. We both had things that we had to work on, and we both had certain trust issues. So, we were working on those because we love each other. We're supposed to be together. We spend most of our time together, and
it doesn't particularly seem fair, you know. And correct me if I'm wrong as far as timeline, because my days are a little muddied. But for him to tell you that it turned his stomach to think of you spending time with this person on Monday, and then Tuesday it's all good again, and he's messaging these two women, and then making you fix it basically, or make him cover for him. I can understand
well,
what
he didn't make me fix it. I offered to fix it because he made me feel like it was my fault that he was embarrassed. So I offered to fix it and take that off of it.
And so after that, after you fixed it, and then he began messaging your friend again, and there was the confusion. I guess if you weren't, earlier you said he had messaged on Tuesday and had this left with his bike that needed to be fixed, right? And you said if you're with this person or this person, be careful or whatever. And so if you can explain to me the time frame between him, you messaging your friend to say, that was me, I was having an emotional day, and then him reaching out to her, realizing there's this misunderstanding between which conversation she's thinking of.
It was within a couple of hours.
Okay. And then, at what point did you and he have the opportunity to have a conversation about the misunderstanding and what you described as you being wrong?
It was nothing but text, because I asked him if we could sit down last night, and he said he already had plans. And didn't tell me what the plans were or anything like that. And I was already sitting out on the back porch, when he got home, and he never came around. You know, I sent him a message. I said, if you want to talk, I'm on the back porch. And he never came in the house. He never came in the back porch. I heard them moving the equipment around, and then, you know, moving one trailer here, one trailer there. And then I heard Levi's truck leave, and I guess Levi took him to take the bike, because, like, when I heard all that, and then I figured, okay, they're gone, or one of them's gone. So I went up to the shop and to figure out what was missing, to kind of piece together what he was actually going to do. And when the bike that he's been working on that's been messed up was missing, I figured he was going to either one of two people to help him. And I just said, you know, okay, since you don't want to talk, at least wait till after 9 o'clock before you come home, so I can go to bed. I can wait before you get here.
Where is that place that he would have taken? Was it here locally?
Yeah, he has 2 friends that help him with his bikes.
Cheryl, what color rubber band does your husband wear?
If he wears one, it's a charcoal gray.
Okay.
If he wears it, he doesn't wear it that often because he's gotten it hooked on things, and it's a stone. It's made out of a stone and that like breaks away, and so it's broken several times. We have a box full of them that we just order the whole box off of Amazon, and he pulls out the ones that fit his finger until it breaks or he loses it, and then he'll put it back up. We'll order more. But he does, like I said, he doesn't always wear it when he's working, because he works out clearing land and, you know, with equipment and things like that. And when they were clearing trees from the tornado, he got it hooked on something, and it ripped a part of his finger, so he wasn't wearing it for a long time.
I know when I spoke to you earlier, you said that you were laying down. You had put the gun on the nightstand because you were home alone. And you said that he or someone came in the door, slung the door open, and then you stated that they were yelling or screaming or saying something. Do you remember any of that?
I didn't know it was him until he yelled that I had hit him. He wasn't really, I mean, he just slammed the door open. I heard thunderous footsteps, and then the bedroom door slam open.
Okay. So you're saying that he didn't make a sound, didn't say anything, the door just slung open, and at that point you reached for your gun?
That's all I mean, at that point I reached for the gun.
Okay. And then you said you fired 2 shots.
I'm obviously not a good aim, because I fired once and it hit the ceiling or somewhere. I couldn't even see where it even hit.
Okay. And then the second shot is when?
And I fired the second shot to what I thought was the right of whoever, I thought I'd be hitting the TV more than anything else, because I was trying to get Luke's attention out there more than anything, and so that he could come in and take care of it, because I'm not that good of a shot. And I didn't even until he said, "Cheryl, you shot me." And he's like this, and I turned the light on, and I'm looking, trying to find where, and I saw blood on his arm, and I thought maybe it had grazed his arm, and then he lifted his arm, and that's when I saw the hole. And I started putting pressure on it and called 911, and everything happened so fast from that point. I just kept, telling her she kept saying that the sheriff's deputies were on the way, and I told her I needed EMTs. I didn't need sheriff's deputies. I needed paramedics. And you know, the sheriff's deputies could come later. I didn't want them there first. I wanted the ambulance there first. And I kept putting pressure on it until they got there. And while the EMTs were getting their stuff out, I held pressure on it. And then when they were ready to step in, I backed off. And the sheriff's deputies took me outside.
Okay. Did you ever wash your hands after that?
No.
Okay.
And after you had the beers on the back porch, and decided you were just gonna go to bed, did you shower before you went to bed?
No. I normally shower in the morning unless I work out, which is not very often. But no, I just went to bed.
Okay. And then the cup that you said there was some water or something on the bed. How did the cup end up all the way on the other side?
I don't remember. I do not remember. I remember the cup being on the nightstand because I had it there because that's why my cough syrup was there.
And what
Wake
color
up with
was
it.
that cup? Do you remember?
It was either the camo one or the bulldog one, but they're both black with something on the outside, and I can't remember which.
Did it kind of look like it was plastic, maybe?
Yeah, it is plastic.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
It is a plastic cup.
And what was in that cup? Do you remember?
Water or pink lemonade. I got up and did it and made it in the middle of the night last night, so it was watered down pink lemonade. The flavor packs.
Okay. You added the flavor packs to it. Okay. So did you make it before you went in and lay down to go to bed?
That was from last night.
That was from the previous night. Okay. But you don't know how it got across the room on the floor?
Unless I knocked it when I went to grab the gun, because there's not a whole lot of room on that nightstand. Everything was sort of crammed in there.
Well, it would have had to been thrown, because that's far, from the stand to where it landed over in the corner, of the room on the other side of the...
I don't know, the same way the chair got over to the other side of the room, I was moving everything, throwing everything out of the way so I could get to him. He was going up under the chair, and I just, took the chair and tossed it. But all I could think about was just, getting the towels up underneath him and getting to him. That's all I could think about.
And
so I don't. When you're focused on one thing, you're not really thinking about what you're doing to get everything else out of the way.
And where was he, like, location-wise, in the room when he said, "Cheryl, you shot me"?
He was inside the doorway, but still where the door was, where that dip is.
Okay. Yep. So, if I remember correctly, so the door was right here into the bedroom out of the kitchen, right? And then you got the bathroom door that's kind of, there's that chest there, and so the bathroom door is maybe a little closer to the center, right? Tell me if I'm wrong about my recollection.
The wall comes out further right here. And right here. To there.
Okay. And then this is where the TV is, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So, in this I'm not an artist, so this very crude diagram, where in the room was he when
he was in this area right here. And when he said my name and said that I had shot him, I jumped up and I turned on the light, and I was looking, trying to find where it was. I saw blood, but I couldn't tell where it was coming from.
Was he still standing at that point
Yeah,
in time?
he was still standing, and then he lifted his arm, and he said, and I saw where it was, and that's when I called 911, because, and he laid down and rolled over, and I couldn't see where it had gone through, so it had to have still been in there, because I couldn't find anything on his back, and the 911 operator just said to keep putting pressure on it, and if the towels got soaked, to grab another towel. I went back in the bathroom to grab another towel and put it on there.
And when you went back in the bathroom and came back out, what was he doing? Where was he at?
He was laying in the floor with his head facing towards.
Can you kind of just show us on here, I guess, if that's the bathroom where he was laying?
This is where the wicker chair was, and he was right here. Because as soon as we figured it out, I got him. He laid down so that I could see if it was anywhere else, if it was coming out anywhere. And
which side was his head? Where was his head at?
It was facing this way.
Okay.
And he was talking to me while I was talking to while I was on the phone with 911. He was talking to me until right before the EMTs came in. And then it just all happened so fast after that. I thought he was talking to me when they, or mumbling or whatever, when they were taking over, and the sheriff's deputies took me outside. And then it come back to the stretcher.
Now, Ms. Coe, about how long before this happened had Levi left?
I don't know. I mean, I honestly don't know how long. I wasn't watching the clock to see, he was there for a good while I was there, after I'd gotten home. But I don't know what exact time he left. I didn't really look. I was, sitting out on the back porch trying to just relax and hoping that he would come down so we could talk. And the music just got louder and louder, and I just was like, okay, I'm going to bed because I can't hear it back there. I'll go to bed because obviously he's not wanting to talk. And I mean, we've done that numerous times, and then talk the next day, and everything's okay. He was very upset with this argument, because he had been trying to do better, and he was right, and I admitted that he was right and I was wrong, and that pointed out several things that had been up for discussion, and that I still had a trust issue about him not talking and saying things that he shouldn't say to other people, and we had to grow past that, and that's what we were working toward growing past, was growing past him doing that, and growing through all of this. I mean, it's not normal. I know that. I guess because he and I had both been in 20-year marriages before, we were willing to experiment and try and learn from what went wrong with those marriages, and try to do differently. And
What particularly went wrong
his,
with the prior marriages?
his first wife cheated on him with one of his friends, and mine, my husband was had degenerative disc disease. My ex-husband has degenerative disc disease, and he'd been through several surgeries and was somewhat addicted to the pain meds, and became very verbally abusive with myself and my daughters, my oldest daughter in particular. And finally, one day, she just came to me and asked me how much longer we had to live with it. And I thought, okay, that's it. We're going. We're not going to stay. We're not going to try. I'm sorry.
That's it.
Try and make it any further, any longer. So, but because his ex-wife had cheated on him, and I had learned while I was single before he and I met that it was much more open being in the lifestyle. It's like, you have so many supposedly monogamous people that cheat, and they lie behind each other's back, and in this you don't. You know up front what you're doing, and you talk about it, and so it seemed like the thing for us to do.
Now,
What?
That's my camera speaking.
now sorry, I feel like I've been doing a lot of the talking now.
Oh,
Sorry, but I was just earlier when we were talking about what you had mentioned, and I don't even know how they did, so I usually try to choose my words so diplomatically, but I'm just going to try to recount it as best I can. Earlier we were talking about that you had gone through menopause and that you finally gotten your hormones regulated, and that he was having some issues of his own too. What were those issues?
My drive became more that I guess what felt like he could keep up with.
Okay.
So.
And did he ever have any issues with, like, obtaining or maintaining an erection?
Only when he's been drinking too much.
How often did he drink?
During the summer, we drank a little bit more, because we would just get in the pool and, have our time together in the pool.
Mm-hmm.
But it wasn't that much. And just recently, it had gotten to be that way, and he was talking about not doing that anymore, because he did things he shouldn't when he was drinking, said things he shouldn't when he was drinking, and that he was gonna cut back on that, and not, he was figuring out how many shots he could have, or how many ounces he could have, so he wouldn't be that way.
Is that why Levi was looking for the shot glass that night?
Levi was looking for the shot glass last night to fix him a shot to take to his dad. His dad sent him down to the house to get him a shot.
Now, when you say last night, what day are we on?
Wednesday.
Okay. I'm with you. I have lost track of what day it is and what the appropriate good night or good morning things to say.
Now, would you be angry or get angry when you would drink? Be verbally abusive?
No. He would get more passionate and more aggressive.
Like when you said he would say things he shouldn't. Like he would say,
Well, that's if we were out somewhere. I mean, he had no problem telling anybody, a total stranger, that we were in an open marriage. And I mean, this is the town that I grew up in. We grew up completely differently. He didn't care what anybody thought about him. I did, and so I was more private about it than he was, and that's when it would kind of cause a problem, because he talked to anybody about it after he'd had a few extra shots. And sometimes he wouldn't remember what he said to people, or
I just have a few more questions. I don't know how many.
Go ahead.
I mean, do you have?
No, I'm good right now.
Okay. Well, I guess just I guess here's what I'm just trying to understand. Um, you know, we were at your house today, and you have a lovely home, a nice property, and you did have a lot of cars and vehicles. But you know, the exterior of your home, the back of it, you have that large window there on the front where your dining room table is. You have the windows on the back of the house that look out onto the screened-in porch, and the window and the door to the screened-in porch, the window above the kitchen sink, and it overlooks a very nice property. And you have described for us how Mr. Coe and Levi were out in the shop, and the music got louder and louder, and he didn't come while you were having your 5 angry orchards. And so you went on to bed at around 7:15. Is what you said. The television was on, and you fell asleep quickly. And the problem, or what I'm trying to understand, is you describe someone opening the door, and when you first spoke to Detective Wade, he sort of flung the door open and was yelling. And so you got that beautiful home with all those windows, and it's still light outside. And so even if you had blackout curtains in your bedroom, the light from all of those windows would have shone through your bedroom window. So then that, coupled with the television being there, a person would recognize that their husband of 4 years and their partner of 6, especially if they're speaking, yelling, angry. And earlier you said you fired these 2 shots at this figure, hoping that he would hear you, and come help you in the home.
but
You've also
taught
described,
me to defend myself.
yes, but you said that you fired these shots so that he could hear you out in the shop where he was playing music so loud. And you just described going into the bedroom to a place where you didn't hear the music anymore. And so I'm having trouble making sense of how both you say you couldn't recognize even the silhouette of your husband through the door when all this light is shining through, and who is speaking to you, yelling at you, and then you would fire 2 shots in a room where you say you couldn't hear the music from the shop. Why would he be able to hear gunshots from inside that room? So help me understand
Well, I mean, we've had people be able to hear gunshots down the road when we were practicing. So, I mean, I really, honestly, I was not, I wasn't thinking it through. I'd had too much to drink. I'd added my clonopin with it, and I just, I didn't know what I was hearing. I heard the door slam open, and I couldn't. I was asleep. I couldn't focus on anything. All I knew was my gun was right here because
And
it was there the other. I put it there last night when he was gone.
And let me ask you this, because you said you went to bed at 7:15, correct?
Sometime around that.
Okay. And you called 911 at 7:26, correct? That's what the call screen says, that you called 911, okay? So that means that you were asleep for approximately 11 minutes.
if
Okay?
you fell asleep
If you fell
immediately.
if you fell asleep immediately. So 7:15 to 7:26, that's 11 minutes for someone to fall asleep so hardly that they don't know what's going on, or the door's slung open, and the first thing that you do is reach for your gun and fire off 2 rounds. So
I had too much to drink.
okay. So when I talked to you previously, you stated that somebody slung that door open and they were shouting and screaming, and remember I asked you, you didn't recognize if it was your husband's voice or not. And what did you say? Do you remember what you said to me?
At this point, no, I don't.
Okay. You had said that you were too dazed, and didn't really know who was screaming and yelling, or what they were saying. So now you're telling us that somebody slung open the door and didn't say anything until you fired the second shot, and then he said, "You shot me," and then you realized that it was your husband. So we're just trying to make sense of all of this.
Right.
And listen, if you all got into an argument or there was something that happened prior to you shooting, let us know. Tell me now, so that we can help you. If you came in and an altercation ensued, or there's a piece I feel that you're not being truthful with us, or you're not telling us. So that's what we're trying to get you to explain that to us, to make better sense, because right now none of this makes sense. So you were truthful with me before, when you asked the deputies to step aside and you and I had that conversation, you remember? Okay, so I just have a gut feeling that something happened. And if it did, then I want you to be truthful with us, okay? And we can work with you. But we were there, we saw the crime scene. What you're saying, it doesn't make sense. It doesn't add up.
So you can just tell us.
So I'm just asking you to be honest. I've been, honest with you all night. I've been compassionate towards you. And I'm just asking that in return, that you give us that respect. And just explain to us what happened, because being there, taking pictures, looking at the crime scene and everything that you're saying, there's a piece that you're not sharing with us, okay? And Cheryl, I just want to hear it from you.
He came in and he flung the door open, and he was yelling at me.
Okay, when you say who's who?
Luke.
Okay.
He was yelling, and throwing things and grabbed a hold of me and told me if I wasn't going to talk to him that I had to go sleep in the other room, and he was pulling me out of the bed, and I, I I grabbed the gun from the side of the bed and I fired it at the ceiling.
Okay. Was that kind
To
of
get
a warning shot or?
no, that was you know, I'm scared because I mean, he scares me sometimes, especially when he's been drinking, and I don't know whether he'd been drinking or not. And that was, they were both supposed to be warning shots. I mean, one was at the ceiling and one was at the wall on the other side. I wasn't trying to hit him.
Okay. So where was he when you fired the second shot?
Still, he had turned around and come back in the doorway.
Turned around from where?
From the kitchen doorway, from the doorway. He was still in this area right here.
Okay, so you had already fired the first shot, correct?
I fired the first shot,
Okay.
and then he started moving back, like he was coming back in there to drag me out of there. So I fired the second shot, and I was trying to shoot the wall. I was never trying to shoot him. And that's why when he said I hit him, I had no idea where I could have hit him.
Were you standing or were you still in the bed when you were firing the rounds?
By the time I shot the second one, I was standing.
Okay.
And where were you standing? If your bed is there in your little nightstand, where were you standing in the room?
Right here.
Okay.
On this mat.
All right. So when you fired the first shot that went over his head, was he trying to leave the room, or what was he doing at that point in time when you had fired that shot?
He was going after something. And I don't know what he was going after.
Did he say anything to you?
He was mad, and he was screaming and yelling at me and telling me to get my ass out of that bed and go sleep in the other bed if I wasn't going to talk to it, if I wasn't going to get up and talk. At that point, I wasn't where I could get up and talk. I'd gotten past that point. It was senseless for us to talk at that point. And I was feeling nauseous. That's why I took the Finnegan on top of the Klonopin. And I just wanted to be left alone. And he wasn't having it. And he was dragging me out of the bed.
Okay. So the gun was on the nightstand, correct? When he was in the room.
Yes.
Okay.
And why was he naked?
I don't know. It could be because he was working on the greasy bike. A lot of times he'll take his clothes off in the laundry room when he comes in so that he doesn't bring them into the house. Sometimes if he's really hot, he'll take his clothes off and jump in the pool. And then come in. And the way that I saw when I went out there to get my flip-flops, the way that I saw all of his stuff lined up on that table is what he does with it when he decides to go jump in the pool. And he takes off his clothes and jumps in the pool.
Okay. How did you know all of his stuff was lined up out there when you said that you had gone to bed before he came in the room?
When we got ready to leave, they took me out there to get my flip-flops.
Okay.
And that's when
you
I
saw
all of his stuff lined up on the
Okay.
table.
All right.
I had not
Okay.
I had not been that far.
Okay. So everything that you've told us up until that new stuff that you just told, was all that correct? Or was there more that had happened when you were out on the back porch?
No,
So you hadn't spoken to him. He was out in the garage.
he was out in the garage.
You had went to bed. And
The only
then,
text you had that afternoon was at 3 o'clock when he said, I'm ready to talk. He said, having some me time and doing my own thing.
Mm-hmm.
And he did
We
it
had
like
a couple of texts back and forth, and that was it.
that. And he said he didn't like that.
Well, I told him that I had plans after work, and if I got home early enough that we could talk then. And like I said, I was going to go get my nails and my toes done too, which usually takes about 2.5 hours on top of going to take this stuff back to UPS and going to the grocery store. So, and then he wanted to know what I was doing. And I told him that it was nothing. It wasn't like it was a play date or anything like that. I was just going to do me stuff. And he said he didn't think that it was sexual, but that he was ready to talk, and he had time to cool off and was ready to talk. And I told him I wasn't sure that I was ready to talk after the way that he left me last night, and that we'd see when I got home. And when I got home, he was already up there working in the shop on his bike with Levi. So I just went in and unloaded the groceries and changed my clothes and went to the garage and grabbed an Angry Orchard and drank it pretty quick. And then I went back and got several more. You know, within probably an hour's time frame, I drank 5. And then he was still up there. Levi had left, and I thought, well, if Levi's gone, then he'll come down and talk. And when he didn't, I just kept drinking. And then I decided I was just going to go to bed. And I put the stuff that I had gotten to put for dinner in the refrigerator and finished the last one and threw it in the trash can in the kitchen. And went and brushed my teeth and took my medicine and turned on my heating pad and got in bed. Because I was already starting to get a migraine from being upset and drinking too.
so when he came in and slung the door open, what did he specifically say?
Get up. He screamed, get up.
Did he turn the light on when he came in?
No. He never turned the light on. The light didn't get turned on until I turned it on to try and find where it had hit him.
Now, when you and I spoke earlier, I had asked you, remember I asked you if you guys were ever physical with each other, if he ever put his hands on you, and at that point you told me.
He's not out of anger.
Okay, what do you mean by that?
He gets turned on and very aggressive when he gets turned on. And so I've gotten used to it. It's not a big deal anymore. But he likes to slap real hard and leave marks on my breath.
Okay.
And I would only let him do it every now and then I got used to it, but he wasn't allowed to do it before we were seeing anybody else or before we were going to or having a party, because I didn't want anybody else to see it.
Okay. So what was different about tonight?
he just seemed more angry tonight. I mean, there was no that aggression happens when we're hanging out and we're, you know, playing in the pool and drinking, and that's when that type of I don't want to say good aggression, but the good side of it, the BDSM side of it comes out. It pleases him, and it's a big turn on for him, so I've learned to get used to it and work with it when he's in that mood. But this was not, there was no playfulness, there was no kissing, there was nothing before he came barreling in there except me trying to go to sleep.
Okay.
And he wasn't having it.
Did he physically get on the bed or get on top of you?
He did not get up on top of me. He ripped the pillow out from between my legs and started to pull me out of the bed. And he said if I wasn't going to get up and talk to him, that I was going to get up and go to the other bed. And
how did he make it? If he came in and you're laying down and he snatches the pillow between your legs, how did we get from that to him being back to the entrance of the bedroom and you standing on that mat shooting him? Like, how did that distance occur?
he went back out of the bedroom to go get something else, and then was on his way back into the bedroom.
Is that when the door was flung open when he came in the room the second time?
The door was flung open when he came in the room the first time.
Okay. So how did he come in the second time?
He came stomping in the second time.
Okay.
And
that's when I grabbed it and shot over here. And he became more angered and aggressive, so I shot toward this way. And I was trying to hit the wall behind the TV. I had no idea that it was that close to him. I was just trying to hit the wall behind the TV so that it would scare him off or make him leave. He's my best friend. He's all I have up here. I can't do this without him. And I never meant to do that. Never, ever meant to do that.
I'll take a cup of
sure.
Okay.
Do you need anything? Need some more
You
water?
want some more water with ice?
You don't need to use the restroom.
I could probably use the restroom.
Okay.
So
When I come back, I'll take you to the restroom. Okay. All right. We're just gonna go take a quick break, and then we'll be right back. Okay. Alright, Cheryl, come on. I'm gonna take you to the bathroom.